my life has changed significantly. The significant change that I had in my life was actually a real blessing. No matter what I've got in front of me, I'm going to keep positive and I'm going to keep going. And I got involved with Park Run, in the Kenneveigh, and I think that was one of the most pivotal, things that happened in my life. Running the marathon, just made me realize that if I set my mind to something, I can achieve it and I can accomplish it. So, I could just hear all these voices then, and it sounded like, how are there so many people here so early in the morning? Be strong, we have such deep resilience within us, and no matter what life throws at us, we can deal with it. Whether it's financial, in relationships, with work, with friendships, whatever it might be, whatever life throws at us as people, we have that deep strength within us, and we can overcome much more than we think we can.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Sportscast Jersey. Today we are joined by a bit of a local running legend, Sha Khan. How are you doing today, Sha?
Hey, I'm well, thank you, Dan, and thank you for inviting me onto your sportscast. Thank you so much.
Nice, it's all. First question I ask everyone before we go into your story and your deeper story is, have you always been sporty since a young age? Have you always enjoyed doing sports or watching sports?
Oh, I dreaded you'd ask me that question. You know what? Unlike many of your other, sports people you've had on, unfortunately, I am I have always been the most least sporty person ever. I've been lazy. I've never really worried too much about, keeping healthy or anything like that. If I can, why should I walk? Why would I run? No. Yeah, so no is the answer, unfortunately.
No is the answer, but you found it now. Um, I want to go straight into um, why, well, part of the reason why we're here and why you're so inspirational for so many. Um, in August 2021, your life kind of changed and it changed a lot. Um, can you explain those times, what happened, and how hard that was for you, for your family, for those who knew you?
I mean, Dan, 2021 started off the best year ever. And, by the time I got to Christmas that year, I had a Christmas like, um, sorry. So Christmas that year was quite a tough year for me, and for my friends and family as well. Um, you know, so August I had this huge change, in my life. Um, you know, I sort of gone to an ordinary guy, ordinary person, ordinary dad, just your standard guy,
Yeah,
just that needed to rely on people big time. You know,
yeah,
in a very short period of time, realize that my life has changed significantly. Um, you know,
yeah,
my mental health, up until now, I apologize. Up until now, my mental health is just up and down. And I needed something that could keep me on even keel. I just needed to feel, I could be normal again.
yeah,
And, I was very lucky through that, that I was introduced to sport and to
yeah,
running in particular. Um, you know, started running, Dan, and ever since I've started running, I guess I got to understand that, the significant change that I had in my life was actually a real blessing, and not, I don't see it as a negative anymore, you know, and yeah, it hasn't been easy, and it isn't easy, and I guess one of the first things I had to decide was, so I've gone through this, and what next? What now? You know,
Yeah,
and a conscious decision that no matter what I've got in front of me, I'm gonna keep positive and I'm gonna keep going, and I turned to people around me, for support. And, here I am, standing strong, standing stronger than ever, actually.
absolutely, absolutely. I want to touch on, obviously, a lot of people in the running scene know you now, but what made that move? When was the first time that you started running and found out that you could run with a guide or with a helper, beside you? When did you first find that out?
I'm with one of the other blind runners on the island, lovely, lovely lady, and she introduced me to running. And I'll always remember the days she suggested it to me, and I thought to myself, there's no way I can do that, and I think she sensed that and said to me, she told me all about how I would do it. I got involved with Park Run, in the
Yeah,
Kennervay, and I think that was one of the most pivotal, things that happened in my life. From getting involved with Park Run, I was introduced to like over 200 of the most amazing people that you could find, so supportive, gave me so much care, and made me feel so at home on that track. You know, I had this tether that I attached to my left arm,
yeah,
to a guide runner. And, through that tether gives me, so much security, so much assurance that I'm okay. I soon discovered after I started running, with Park Run that my eyes automatically just close when I run, and I think because I run faster than I can see. And if my eyes are open, it feels like I'm about to crash,
yeah,
into anyone in front of me. So I just feel if my eyes are closed, I run stronger. And yeah, I do place complete trust in my guides, but I've never had any problem with that. I do trust them completely. Um, Through Park Run, Park Run made me realize not just how important the guide runners were, but how important the marshals are as well.
mm,
These are such amazing people. On all the races I've ever been on, marshals shouting out this way or that way, and encouraging me on. It
yeah,
means a they just don't stand there and point. They'll actually shout out which way we need to go, and I love that. It
yeah,
just makes people, that they understand, what my predicament is, and
yeah.
that they're happy to help me. So I love it when the marshals, I love it that they're there, first of all, and how they help me.
Yeah, amazing. And I want to touch on park on a bit more. And obviously, for anyone starting running full stop, how much would you encourage them to go to park run and just have a go?
I mean, Park Run, I can't speak enough about Park Run. These people are incredible. Some people walk, some people run, some people sprint, some people fly. Park Run's incredible. All ages, all abilities, everyone is welcome there. And you'll feel that love them before the race even starts. You'll feel that you're in the right place. I highly encourage Park Run.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Beyond that, you've done some massive challenges. You've got your London Landmarks t-shirt on today.
Yeah.
Let's start with that one. And how, when did the idea first come about, firstly, and how was the experience?
Yeah. I mean, I was Park Run, and while I was in Park Run, I got this thought in my head. I mean, after I had this change in life, in my lifetime, I sort of scrapped all my life plans. Any plans I had, you know,
Yeah.
just completely. I had, just no plans. I just thought I'm just going to live my life day to day, and London landmarks was such a special thing for me. It was the first plan, you know,
Yeah.
it was the plan that I had, so yeah, I just, I had such an amazing guide runner. Her name is Terry. The most beautiful and kind and gentle person you'll ever find. And she, I don't know how I didn't even need to ask her twice. I just said, Terry, this is what I'd like to do. And she was like, I'll help you with that. It was really emotional, an emotional time for me, that process of making that decision. And then, with the support of Rock and Road and the coaches there to coach me to get to that place where we had be, standing at that start line. So yeah, landmarks was such a big deal for me. Running the marathon, just made me realize that if I set my mind to something, I can achieve it and I can accomplish it. And it was the first thing that I sort of set my mind on, set my sights on,
Yeah.
and I did it. I always think, and I put this t-shirt on today, you know, for inspiration, speaking with you. You have such big names on your podcast. I'm like, does Dan know I'm just a guy?
No, you're amazing. You're amazing. Um,
I, I put this t-shirt on for inspiration.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I want to touch on we'll go to try in a minute, but you did Jersey Half Marathon recently as well. I did that one as well, and I think I saw your family all the way around supporting you. They were waiting there for you. Um, how special was that marathon knowing they were there every step of the way as well and cheering you on?
Do you know what? I think I'm the luckiest man in this whole world. I have the most amazing wife. She is such a kind, caring person. My daughters, my son, and I have two grandchildren, and they were on FaceTime all the way through the race. Every corner they were on. It just made me feel, so valued, I guess. And my family will always say to me what an inspiration I am to them. And sometimes I don't know, how am I an inspiration? I don't know. I'm just trying to live, just trying to be me, I guess.
Yeah,
So my family will always encourage me, will always tell me, on my bad days, it's all about mindset. And keep me on the straights. Some days, I have some really dark days, and my family will help me through that. you know
yeah, yeah,
yeah. And something else, when we were doing that Jersey half marathon, and I bet you experienced it as well, running through the lanes, people outside their front doors, by their gates,
yeah,
cheering us on. That was amazing, I tell you. It
yeah.
really motivated me, just hearing these people shout out and cheer me along. I loved that.
Yeah, it was an amazing race. It was a really nice race, and yeah, it was really good to see a lot of people out there cheering us on, like you said. Um, going back, I mentioned it. Try. Um, simply amazing that you did it, and everyone that does it is amazing. Um, but what made you want to do that and set yourself that kind of challenge? And again, how was the day?
Ah, try. When they invited me on to try a try, and I thought, oh, okay, and I thought it'll just be another race. It's nothing like that. Absolutely nothing. And once again, I highly recommend people of all abilities just try it out. You know, for me, that whole try was, really, really emotional. The training, that they provided us was to such a high standard. I remember that morning I was up I hardly slept the night before. So if I say I was up at the crack of dawn, I was up before the crack of dawn. Yeah. And I remember just turning up there and everyone was there. So many people, I could just hear all these voices then. And it sounded like, I thought how are there so many people here so early in the morning? And then I became so overcome with emotion because I realized that actually I would never be able to be at that start line that morning. Never. If it wasn't for a huge team of people. I had Terry who ran with me at London Landmarks. She agreed to run with me for the try.
Yeah.
I had this called Danny Smith. He's one of the cycle coaches on the island. Top man Danny. He was on the tandem with me, and I had Haley Butlin, world class coach. And such in person. She did the swim with me, and it was just thinking I've got such a high level of support. Not just that I got it, and I think what made it so emotional was that I needed that. It was just a lot for me. And I just feel, I was just in floods of tears, right from the start. And I said to Haley, I'm sorry, this is just what's going on. But so much love from everyone and the organizers. Try is a world-class event. Everything about it is world-class.
Yeah, amazing. And a question I want to ask, you said about the running, but when you first have these guides, how long does it take you to fully trust? What's it like the first time you're with them and the first time, say, you go in the water and you got your guide, and how long does it take you to trust them?
Yeah, one thing that I learned really early on in the process was to trust my guide completely. So I trust them completely from the minute we got that tether on our arms.
Yeah.
Completely with them. If there's any dips in the road, any bumps, anything, I know that they're going to warn me and, tell me, let's slow down or let's stop. So I trust my guides completely 100%. When it came to the swimming with Haley, it was a completely different experience. I have been in the sea since my eyesight deteriorated, but
Yeah.
it wasn't for a sea swim, it was just for a splash. So with Haley, actual swim, and I can literally see as far as my nose. I can't see very far, and I got these huge waves, and I'm bobbing about. I just remember bursting out crying. I just said, Haley, I can't do it anymore. And Haley was like, so calm and assuring. And she says, Sha can do anything. And that just really had such an impact on me. Like, can I,
Yeah.
just started swimming again, Yeah, it was such an experience, try. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, special times. What I want to ask you as well, and you've mentioned it to me, and you've mentioned it in this podcast, mental health wise, obviously, um, you've said you've struggled, but how much do these sports and being around these people help your mental health?
you know, like the most, I found that my mental health is like roller coaster, up and down, and it's hard to control your mental health. It's not an easy thing just to manage, and you need support. I certainly need support with that, and I'll tell people, anyone around me, if one of the things I've learned through this is to be open about how I feel. If I need to if I need to cry when I'm talking about something, and I will, I think people need to be free to be able to express how they feel, and I think it's in that being able to express how you feel, will we be able to seek that support? So, if even if we want to make a simple call to an agency, for example, I know many exist on the island. I'll just mention one, like the Samaritans, for example. Even just to call them, people might struggle, but actually, it's just, you know, first of all, you understanding, I need the help, and just making yourself strong to speak to someone. I highly encourage it. I have found so much strength in speaking to people around me, not only professionally, but even personally, about how I feel. Someone will say to me, "Oh, how are you doing today, Shah?" And, usually people ask you that and you're like, "Oh, I'm fine." But actually, if I'm not, I'll say to you, "Dan, I'm not fine today. I feel quite low." And I think we need to all start being more honest about how we feel about our mental health.
Yeah, yeah, incredible. Yeah, I agree. Um, Moving on, just last few questions. Um, what's next for you? Is there challenges coming up? Obviously, I know you got a big thing in August. So would you like to discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, after I did try it, but you know what? This triathlon thing is actually quite exciting. It's really challenged me. It's been a long time since I've had, fine getting my running shoes on and my high vis bib and my tether and just going for a run, and that's fine. But the triathlon really challenged me. And after the try, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna, go for it. So I applied to Superheroes, triathlon, and I just thought, well, I don't know if I'll get a slot. And so they got back to me and they offered the superhero series. They offered me a slot with Paralympian. Uh, I think she's an 8-time Paralympian. Her name is Sophie Christensen, an
Yeah.
amazing person. And so she'll be my celebrity guide. It's so exciting. So
Wow.
this 12th of August, I've started my training for it. I'm really worried about triathlon. The riding when you're at the back of that tandem, it's quite scary just being there. And that swim again. It's quite a scary thing being in that water. Let alone the running.
Yeah.
So I've got superheroes coming up. So exciting! It's sponsored by Marvel. It's a huge event in the UK. They hold it every year. It's specifically aimed at people with disabilities from all types of disabilities. So it's promising to be one of the most amazing weekends I think I'll experience in my life. I look really forward to that.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Good luck with that. Um,
Like,
final question, Shah. Um, how much do you want to inspire and encourage others maybe going through similar changes in their life or similar or other struggles or mental struggles or what have you to challenge themselves or even just to try sport, get out there, meet new people? How much would you encourage that?
you know what? I dream this out to you. I really, life is not easy, and life throws curveballs at us all the time. You know, um, Whatever life throws at us, you know, let's stand strong. I'll say, be strong. We have such deep resilience within us, and no matter what life throws at us, we can deal with it. Whether it's financial, in relationships, with work, with friendships, whatever it might be, you know, whatever life throws at us as people, we have that good deep strength within us, and we can overcome much more than we think we can. Things like sport will certainly help us with that. And I highly encourage people to turn to it, even if it's just going for that walk. You don't have to run and be some athlete. Just go for that walk. You'll find it so therapeutic, and it will help clear that mind, put you in a different place and see things from a different perspective. I highly encourage it.
Amazing, amazing advice. And Just an amazing guy doing amazing things, Shah. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you, Dan. Really appreciate you inviting me on. Thank you.
Brilliant. That was another episode of Sportscast Jersey. A new episode is coming soon.